Hi, I'm Cassie Burton, and this is Curiosity Junkie. Today, we're going to be talking about positive social media, the power of journaling, gratitude, intentions, and setting boundaries. And then we're going to give you some tips and tools for handling stress and anxiety. Please welcome Cynthia Agyeman-Anane.
Hi, Cynthia. How are you?
I'm good, Cassie. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, I'm so excited to chat with you. We kind of connected on Instagram. I follow you and your posts. You always have some insightful stuff. Love sharing that. So thank you for putting that out there.
Of course, I'm having so much fun doing it.
Yay, good. Well, you are a licensed therapist, correct?
Yep, I am.
All right. Well, what made you want to become a licensed therapist?
So it does. It's an interesting story, right? So I wanted to actually go into law when I first started school. And then the more I kind of got into it, I was like, you know what? I can actually make more of an impactful change if I became a therapist, right? Or social worker. So with social work, I felt like I could do more one-on-one stuff. But also as well as like impacting bigger systemic changes as well. So it just kind of made sense, right, in terms of personality, in terms of career aspirations, to go into social work, which then has led me into becoming a therapist years later. So plus I've always loved to talk, so it's just a great fit.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So do you work with specific groups then, or are you just open to helping all people?
Yeah, so I obviously my trajectory has been I'm originally from Ghana, so I was born in Ghana, West Africa, and then I
Love
moved to
it.
Canada when I was around elementary school age, and so I guess I'm in lots of different cultural places,
Yeah.
right, or social places, and so my experience I feel like has shaped the work that I do, and so I'm a shifter,
Mhm.
which is kind of like based on my experiences, right? And so I'm able to be in lots of different places, I think, in regards to personal life, but then also kind of led into the career. So yeah, I work mostly with families of all shapes and sizes and color and couples. So yeah, I'm all over the place. I can be in lots of different spaces and feel comfortable, and yeah, that's where I am right now.
I like that. And there's power in knowing your strengths.
I'm enjoying it, and it's fun to be able to
Mhm.
like be all over the place, but
Yeah.
still structured.
Right. You're like, there is structure here.
I'm structured, yes.
I love it. Well, you do when you're posting on Instagram, you post some really great stuff. And
Yeah.
I look at some of them like affirmations, like you do some affirmation posts and then just some positive thought process stuff too. When you're doing that, because you do it every day, is there anything in there that's like a little bit of a message for yourself? Or yeah, that's what I
Yeah. Yeah, it's every day. I feel like it is a message, right? Most of the time, I feel like I'm talking to myself, and in talking to myself, I'm hoping that someone else is also benefiting from the way in which I'm communicating with myself. And so, and again, I'm very organic, right? And how I'm learning that about myself actually, and how I do things. So I don't necessarily even have like planned out posts all the time, right? Like I'll get an idea and I'll write it down and I'll come back to it. But every morning I try to be very organic and say, what do I need this morning, right? Or what do I need this week? Or what do I
Mhm.
need coming up? And so sometimes a lot of the posts that you're seeing or you're reading is me thinking in the moment, what do I need for myself, or what do I need to say to someone else, or what do I need to encourage somebody with? And so yeah, it is really me um, talking all about it, but mostly to myself,
You're
right,
right.
and the hope that someone else benefits or someone can take something from it. And and yeah, create some kind of change in their day, or their week.
Because this is what I love about therapy and kind of sharing what I'm doing is that not everyone can afford to go to therapy.
Yeah.
So it's nice, and no, social media postings are not a form of therapy,
I
but
know.
maybe it gets them started journaling or reflecting or any kind of inward moment. I think if it sparks that, then it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And one of the things too that I've started recognizing lately too, right, is a lot of clients will read something on Instagram and it will validate something that we talked about in a session, right? And it's almost like, oh, I know that, right? because they've been learning about it, or we've been talking about it. And so that's the beauty of social media, right? And there's, some, not so beauty in there too. But the beauty in that is that it's become a validating place for a lot of people,
Mhm.
right? And even for me as a clinician, right, who does this all the time, sometimes you read something and you're just like, oh my God, I needed that in that exact moment, right? The algorithms knew exactly what to say to me. And it just resonated. And so yeah, it just like these snapshots of encouragement and positivity. And because again, right, there's so much negativity and so many comparison traps and different things that happen on social media, but there's also like positivity and beauty and amazing things that are happening online.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I'm always drawn to the posts that are either insightful or positive in general. Anything that's gonna make me feel a little bit better. I tend to,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
anytime I find someone posting, I don't even know if I would call it like super negative, but just something that comes across like you should just, if this person doesn't do this for you, you should just cut them out. And I'm like, delete, unfollow. Not
Sometimes
real.
those posts are needed too, right? But not all the time. Give me a
Because I'm
little
like, I
bit of
don't need that.
variety.
Yeah, I got enough blah in my life. I don't want it
Yeah,
on here too.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So it's like if you curate, right, your timeline very well, you do get a lot of positivity coming your way. And then, so yeah, there's definitely a way to use social media where it's like you go for to recharge, right, or to reset or to fuel versus like taking away. Because there's places for that too, right, where you can go. It's like I'm mad just being here. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you.
I love it. Well, do you have like a daily practice? Do you do like a journaling, meditation, anything that kind of kicks off your day?
Yeah, so every morning, I'm not necessarily like a morning person because I still my daughter is just turning 1 in a few weeks.
Oh,
So
wow.
my
Yeah.
sleep has been like all over the place. But most mornings I try to do a meditation. So I use a meditation app, and the one that I use is helpful because it allows you to like kind of set your intentions for the week, which is
Mhm.
helpful, right? So I'm not having to think about what do I want to listen to this morning. It's kind of like prepared it for me already. So it helps me to just kind of plug it in. And I can kind of start my day that way. Most mornings or mid morning, I try to go for a walk. And I've become, and I've talked about this and on Talk All About It, but I have become fanatic about my walking because it's like the one time during the day where I can just like be me, right? Without worrying about clients, without worrying about family, without like literally like it's just me and the walking and the trees and the leaves and the sky, right? Like I can be, that's my happy place right now. And so I definitely try to do that every single day when I can.
Yeah.
Um, and so the funny thing about journaling, I've been journaling literally since, I don't know, second grade or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I have like journals upon journal. I have my secret garden journal.
I love
That's
it.
like how far back my journaling experiences go. So it's just interesting, right? When you hear people talking about journaling, I'm like, I never even knew that I was doing something for myself that was therapeutic years ago, right? And so yeah, definitely I don't journal every day, but at least once a week, a few times a week I try to do it. And it's like it's when you go back and review some of the things that you've written or some of the things that you wanted to do, and you're just like, oh my God, this is actually happening, right? And yeah, like if anybody out there doesn't journal, I would highly recommend it. Even if it is just journaling 3 things that I did today that was great, or something that I saw that made me happy, or something that a quote that you found on social media, or a book you read, or something you heard on TV. That can be a profound experience later on, because you can go back to it, right, and be like, oh my God, I was able to use this to help me do something, right? So yeah, journaling in a lot of ways has been, without knowing actually, right, has been very, very therapeutic for me for many, 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 many years. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I didn't really think about journaling as like a self-help thing. I
Yeah,
really just was using it as a way to like just get some stuff out of my head and
exactly.
like dump. And it was
Yeah.
funny when you said go back and revisit. Originally, I was like, I'm just putting stuff out. Like it's like a place for me to get rid of it. And so I'm not really interested in going back. But then I also found that I started writing like ideas, things I wanted to do. So I
Mhm.
did go back, and it's that same thing. You go, oh my gosh, I actually did that. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And
you're like manifesting all these things, or you're literally um draining negativity out, right? Without realizing that
yeah,
you're actually literally taking it out. So yeah, the process of journaling, it's so impactful, right? And we don't, I guess, when you're doing it when you're younger, you're just like, oh, dear diary kind of thing, but you don't realize how profound that can be for you if you continue into adulthood.
yes, yes. And
Yeah.
I love it. You don't do it every day, because I think there's some pressure. People think they have to journal every day. And I did for a long time because it was just part of my morning routine. But then,
Yeah, and I went on your website. I love your process. Like I think you had said that you did gratitude every morning. That's
Mhm.
all. Like I love that experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's so powerful for mindset. And uh, there are some great people out there. I know that Joe Dispenza does like let me map out my day,
Mm-hmm.
and really starting with a positive thought. And this is how my day's
Yeah,
going to go. And it's going to
yeah.
be really good. And if he goes into any negative, he's like, start over.
Hmm.
I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, but a lot of really great people that are change makers
Yeah,
do the gratitude in the morning,
yeah.
because it really does kind of set the tone for the day.
It does set your tone, right? And it just like it focuses you right away, right? And yeah, like I've had um different experiences recently where we're just like, oh, I feel so drained, or I feel so tired. And as soon as you literally switch your mindset, right? The trajectory to your day or your morning changes. And we don't recognize, right, until we become more self-aware, how powerful our thoughts and our thinking and our feelings are in our actions, right? That whole cycle of the CBT cycle. So yeah, it for me, it's been a useful tool, and I'm glad to hear that for you too. It's been a good
Yeah.
resource.
So I
Yeah.
always highly recommend it. And I didn't really get into it until I was, last 4 years or so. So I
Mm-hmm.
say, it's never too late to start
Never
something.
too late. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you mentioned intentions, like kind of setting intentions. And I was reading an article on intentions versus resolutions versus intentions.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped setting resolutions many years ago because you never follow through on it. They're always so grand that it's like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was interesting. It was talking about how intentions are more focusing maybe on amplifying something you're doing, and it's just like how you're going to focus on it versus committing to go to the gym every day for 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. And I love that. Is that kind of how you look at an intention as well when you're
Yeah,
setting?
I feel like intentions is more proactive, right? Versus like a resolution. It feels more reactive. Like, oh my God, I have to go to the gym. And if I don't go to the gym, there's these really bad negative consequences, right? Versus an intention, there's like a purpose there, right? There's this like um, positive synergy that comes with
Oh,
it, right? Like, I am intent on doing this because I want to, or because it feels good, or because it's going to make me reach my bigger goal, right? So definitely, I do subscribe to the second thoughts about intentions being a little bit more gentler, and more purposeful, right? There's purpose in
mhm,
it. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. So you're out there and you're thinking about resolutions. Start thinking about intentions. What's your
Intentions.
intention
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. Intentions will carry you through the entire year, right? Resolutions, I feel like, get you frustrated, and you're just like, by mid-March, if you're lucky, right? You may
Right.
not
Now you're
even get
feeling like
there.
failure is setting in. It's like, boo.
Yeah, definitely, and be more intentional, right? And be more
Right.
intent on your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we are talking, we're in that holiday season. It is
Yeah, yeah,
December. And I do I do kind of have that it's not like seasonal depression because that's really not what it is, but I always feel like this time of the year, there's that expectation to show up to every party you're invited to, which creates anxiety and
yeah,
attend everything and be on your best and make people happy and blah, blah, blah. So I always think, oh my God, this is like overwhelming season for me.
yeah.
But
That's a
I tend
great,
to be
yeah,
a people pleaser, something I'm working on. So anxiety, depression, those are real things this time of year.
yeah.
What's the main difference between the two?
I That's a good question. I wonder like how people come into it, right? So like you're saying, if you're already dealing with anxiety and depression, it can look different when you come into the holiday season, right? So most people with depression also suffer around the holidays with seasonal affective disorder, right? So you're also already dealing with that. So sometimes the desire to want to go and participate or interact with people is not there. And so that could increase your anxiety because you really want to be there, but you just physiologically you may not be able to, right? And so the biggest difference I feel like is how you arrive at the holidays with your
Mhm.
symptoms of depression and anxiety.
Right.
So first becoming more aware of what are my symptoms, what are my triggers around the holidays, right?
Yeah.
The perfect example, like you said, with the unrealistic expectations sometimes from family and the workplaces, right? About coming to all these events and participating and being part of the process. You may have to the buzzword right lately, but it's something that we all need to work on. Boundaries.
Oh,
The
yes.
holidays are a great time to set and be intentional about setting and maintaining your boundaries. If you're not doing that, then guess what? Your anxiety and your depression symptoms are going to go through the roof, and you're less likely going to enjoy the holidays, right? Because the more stressed you become, the more you tend to pull away. And the holidays are supposed to be a fun, festive time for most people, right? And so you want to make sure that you're making the environment that you're creating for yourself and the situations that you're putting yourself into
Mhm.
is conducive to your mental health. Because
Yeah.
if it's not, you're just going to end up becoming more resentful, angry, more depressed, more anxious, more withdrawn, which is not what you want to be doing around this time of year because it's already hard, right, for so many other reasons.
Yeah. And I think this is the great reminder this time of year that it is okay to say no. It
No
is
is a complete sentence. Yes.
Yes.
It is.
Okay. Don't feel
Yeah.
guilty about it. You have to think about your own mental health. It's so important.
Because, and the other reason that it's so important, right, is that this time of year, not only, I feel like the other thing too, there's so much like stressors, right? Financial stress, expectations for what have I done with my life this whole year, right? And so there's so many, and then the pandemic, let's not forget the pandemic and
Gosh,
everything else,
right.
right? So there's so many external pressures that we're experiencing anyway as a result of the holiday.
Yeah. I think that's a big one. It's just
Okay.
being okay to say no.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about since we've talked about, it's okay to say no. What are some great coping skills or tools, tricks, tips, anything somebody could use during this time of the year and maybe all year long?
Yeah, so definitely setting boundaries is a coping skill, right? So, like we said, no is a complete sentence, and you should do that. The other thing is to just like planning ahead for your stress, like anticipate what's going to be stressful, which family members are going to be stressful, which situations are going to be stressful. So anticipating your stress allows you to plan ahead, right, for how you're going to navigate certain family situations, family dynamics, travel times, different things like that. So if you can anticipate your stress, you can hopefully manage and figure it out. Figure out how to manage it, right, appropriately. Exercise obviously is always important. Get some fresh air, go to the gym, go for walks, do some yoga, whatever kind of feels good for you. Another thing too that I was thinking about is just like mindfulness, right? Just being mindful, right, about what you're doing during the holiday. I feel like we can be very, what's the word? Just going with the flow without, again, going back to just being very intentional, right, about what it is that you're doing, how you're spending your time, who you're spending your time with, how much money you're spending around the holidays, right? I feel like that's also really, really important because the
Yeah.
holidays will end, right? And you have to manage the aftermath of the holidays. So just being mindful of that helps. And creating, I have here like a self care kit, right? So come up with like a few breathing techniques that you can use, some calming strategies, bring some calming music that you can listen to, but just like ways for you to alleviate some of the symptoms of anxiety and depression that may come up, right? Without obviously being around family too. We didn't really get into this, but like unresolved trauma can
Mhm.
creep up around the holidays. So just being mindful about how to self-soothe and self-regulate when situations get a little bit dicey.
Yeah.
Can be
And I,
helpful.
I think it's also because we're talking about family, sometimes that can get intense because it's a comfortable place. Everybody knows everybody, they know your triggers.
Yeah.
Alcohol comes into play, things can
Oh
get
yes, for
elevated.
sure.
You have the right to walk out of any situation you don't feel safe in.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Give yourself permission to set those boundaries, to have the right to leave.
Yeah.
Make some stuff for yourself. I love the self-care kit too. I just think that's great.
Yeah. And then that it goes into the planning ahead, right? If you know that drinking comes up every family holiday and that brings up other things, be
Mhm.
okay to be like, yeah, that's my exit strategy. I need to leave. Or when that person comes in that you don't have good vibes with, it's okay to be like, yeah, I'll see you guys next time, or I'm going to go and I'll see you tomorrow, right? So definitely plan ahead
I love that. Have your exit plan ready.
for sure. For
It's
sure.
okay. It's really
Yeah.
okay. Well, you have something that you created, and it is conversation creates change.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about that.
So conversations create change is the my private practice, right? So on social media, I have like talk all about it, which is kind of like my Instagram account that I created this year. But conversations create change is the private practice that I have, and it's actually a group practice. So I have two other therapists that are part of the practice, and it started. it was almost like maybe New Year's 2017. And my husband and I were just kind of like talking about like, what do we want, the next couple of years to look like? And then started talking about, wouldn't it be great if I started a private practice, right? And we called it, well, the name didn't come right away, but it was just like, then Conversations Create Change was born. Because as I started doing private practice, I realized, a lot of times there's stigma around therapy, right? As a thing that people use to change their lives or impact change or heal or whatever. And so I kind of wanted to just make it accessible, right, for people. And so the word conversations, and so I was like, when you're doing therapy, you're really just exchanging conversations about lots of different things, right? Anxiety, depression, family stuff, relationship stuff, trauma, childhood history. But you're having conversations, right? And within those conversations, obviously the therapist is using some pretty amazing techniques, right? And evidence-based theories and different things like that. But in all actuality, it's just about a bunch of conversations that eventually create change, right, in someone's life, whatever that change looks like. And so it kind of just like made sense to me to call my practice Conversations Create Change, just not only to make it accessible, right, because the other thing too that I was thinking about is that I want people to use therapy as a part of their routine self-care, right? You go to the doctors, you get your nails done once a week, you get your toes done, get your hair done, right? And so I wanted the idea of therapy to just be, this is something else that I do in addition to all the other ways that I take care of myself. And so, yeah, Conversations Create Change was born out of just the need to make it accessible for everybody.
That's great. And communication is so important in everything we do, how we communicate, how we listen. It's just so impactful. So I love that. And I'm all about change. I think change is so important and we fear it so much.
Constant. Yeah. But it's so constant, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything's always changing. Like that's just life.
Whether you like it or not, change is coming around the corner.
That's the key. Whether you like it or not, it's coming at you. Well, let's talk about how everybody can connect with you and if you have any events coming up or information that people can access.
Yeah, so obviously I am on Talk All About It on Instagram. If you are in Maryland, I am hosting, or a colleague and I are hosting a vision board party on January 8th at the Laurel Library. I think it's called Maryland City at Russet Library. And so hopefully you can come out there. If you, I'm going to be posting about it a little bit more later. But yeah, vision boarding, I want to host an online one, but I haven't decided yet. I might do a live, so look out for that too, just about vision boarding and manifesting and different things like that in the new year. But yeah, I'm every morning, most mornings, I'm on, you can find me on IG with the positive post or challenge, challenging you to think differently kind of post.
Yeah. I love what you put out. It's great stuff. And I just invite everyone to check it out. Always something positive and affirmations. I think those are wonderful.
Thank you, Cassie, so much. And thank you for what you do and for just like for creating opportunities for us to share our message and just being a little light, right? I think is helpful. And that's one of the things that I've been loving about social media. Like there's all these like amazing people that I'm meeting anyway, and I'm just like, oh my God, they're just like me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and that's been wonderful.
Yes, of social media. Yes, it can be negative, but it can also be a wonderful place to meet new people and learn new things.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Cynthia, for coming on, sharing your wisdom with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cassie, so much. And everybody, please subscribe to Cassie's podcast. And yeah, visit us on social media. We'll be there.
Absolutely. And thank you to everybody out there for tuning in, listening, watching. Stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.